good morning, Week 0 and Bama Standard fans. We are back with you to enjoy this game day Saturday morning cocktail kickoff brought to you by Workspace Solutions, featuring the guys from Week 0, Pettey and I, hello, and our guy Justin Riley from the Bama Standard. What's going on this week, Justin?
Listen, man, that intro is like 3 shots of espresso. I just want to thank you, first of all, for getting our Saturday morning start off right. Hey, I'm jacked, not just from the intro. Kudos again.
Espresso for you, Victor.
Espresso. Hey, this is the weekend that we have all been waiting on. May have lost a little bit of its luster on a national perspective, but time for reckoning in regards to one Jimbo.
Hell yeah, Ole Miss Vanderbilt. Oh, pumped up. Sign us up.
And with that, the excitement of my intro is done.
Way to take the air out of the room, Pettey.
My bad. I thought we were talking Ole Miss Vanderbilt.
You're starting to turn into a Michael.
I love it. Well,
Justin,
this is a big game, guys.
I think there's a big game in Tuscaloosa. Is that what you were alluding to?
Yeah, there may be a small one. I mean, there's a huge amount of people there for some reason this weekend.
Maybe it's because it's a revenge game, guys. Do you guys I'm going to jump into gambling really quick on this if you don't mind, but you know how many times Nick Saban has lost at the University of Alabama? If you don't, I'll tell you, it's 15. That means he's had 15 revenge games throughout since 2007 when he got there, right?
Right.
He is 14-1 in winning those revenge games, and I'm sure Pettey remembers the one time we didn't win the revenge game.
We're not going to talk about that one.
Mr. Handjob Hugh and the new normal, which didn't turn out to be the new normal.
It was normal for 1 week, and then we went to Gainesville and got our ass kicked.
Absolutely. And against the spread. And many of these spreads, guys, have been in the 30s. Fun fact, he's 11-4 covering the spread in these revenge games. So if you're a gambler out there and you like trends, make sure you take a look at that.
And if you listen to our podcast or any of our shows, you know we have liked trends this year. They seem to be the only thing that work.
Absolutely. But Justin, it's really more about X's and O's, right? What are we in for?
What are we in for? Well, first of all, guys, let the mystery be taken away. Jalen Milroe is the starter, not Bryce Young. There has been speculation all week and little hints and nuggets leading up that we may possibly see Bryce Young this week. Honestly, I never thought it was going to be a thing. You know, why push him? We need to get him right back in the saddle next week, so that means keep him healthy, right? I think we have what we need to with Jalen Milroe. Yeah. This offensive system we have right now, this game plan falls perfectly into his hands. Hey, listen, the A&M Aggies are 97th against the run in the nation.
Oh,
tell me this doesn't benefit Alabama.
I didn't realize that. Their defenses seem tough all year. How are they 97?
They're tough in the secondary, and they're kind of tough in spurts. But if you want to look at the stats, brother, 97th in the nation against the run, that plays
How are they against a quarterback that they've probably seen a half of play from who looks a lot like Michael Vick? How's that going to work against them?
I don't think it's going to work to their favor, to be quite honest with you, because they haven't been able to prepare for any quarterback thus far.
No.
So it's going to be interesting. And the offensive line is surging at the right time. Yes, folks, Nick Saban and company heard my pleas. Seth McLaughlin was inserted into the lineup as a starter because Darian Dalcourt was hurt. But to be honest with you, I don't think Dalcourt's coming back. But you throw Seth McLaughlin in there and put Tyler Booker beside him, all of a sudden we have a completely different offensive line. And like I mentioned on previous shows and before we started this week, guys, the silver lining with Bryce Young getting hurt, it kind of forced the offensive line to grow up and to kind of get back into that Bama standard that we're accustomed to on the offensive line.
The silver lining of Bryce going down is your backup quarterback is better than the starter at Georgia right now. That's the silver lining.
Well, look, come on, guys. No offense to Uncle Steady, but there's a lot of quarterbacks out there that are better than him.
There are some NIIA quarterbacks that are better than Steady right now, just to throw that out there. But, yeah, it forced us also to do something I believe we should have been doing the whole time. That's run the damn ball. And boy, did we do it. And the world got introduced to Jahmyr Gibbs.
I think that's a key to the game, though. I think the key is Bill O'Brien's offensive game plan. What's he? You know, you got me on that run defense from Texas A&M. They've apparently been a mirage because I thought the strength of their team was their defense. Maybe it's because their offense is so bad it just kind of looks good, you know, by default.
Well,
But
and you
my
bring up a
question
good
mark is Bill O'Brien. What kind of game plan does he have with Milroe? Because I do with that stat and a Milroe's ability, this should be a game. And Jamar Gibbs, like you said, he broke out and showed what we were all expecting last week at the beginning of the season. You put that together, man. If he gets the right game plan, I see Bama dragging some balls today on Jimbo.
And you brought up a good point I didn't really think about is the reason why A&M's defense is having struggles is because the offense just can't do anything in terms of points. They're averaging 13 points a game, guys.
No,
So, the stats on the defense may be a little skewed because they're on the field majority of the time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. Throw those offensive stats out the window. If Jimbo's smart enough to do anything, he saved 4 or 5 touchdown plays for this game, right? Like, he knows he can go 8-4 every year, slip up and beat Bama, and they're not going to pay that $100 million to get rid of him, right? So, here's another thing. If you can't see that Pettey here is drinking a Bloody Mary, we do a counter on the bottom right for those of you who aren't good at
Bloody
reading,
Mary,
like
Kenneth
McCullum. I think that Jalen Milroe being at quarterback actually gives a huge help to both our running backs and our offensive line because Jalen Milroe takes an extra linebacker out of the picture. They've got to put somebody watching him whenever. It doesn't matter if we're running the option. It doesn't matter if we're passing the ball. It doesn't matter. You've got to have somebody watching him or he's going to run a touchdown, right? He's going to go 70 yards if you leave him alone. The dude's shifty. He's fast and he's big. So with the line not having that additional blitzer coming in, somebody spying a lot of times and things, it gives them a little bit of a breather. And with people focusing on the quarterback in the running game, it opens up a lot of lanes for 1 and 2 out there. So I'm expecting big games from those guys in addition to Milroe on the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. And, this week, I believe this is where Bill O'Brien earns that next job that we are so anxious to cast him to, right? Because this is the on-the-field interview for him. This is where he earns his paycheck and is going to need to be creative. So how is Jalen Milroe going to look under a full week of Bill O'Brien's tutelage? So I'm excited about
with the ones. Saban was talking a lot about. Oh, sorry about
Bill
that.
O'Brien in a wreck last night? Is that a joke?
Wait, what are you talking about?
ESPN reported Bill got in a car accident last night. Who's regular life on our message stream reported this? I haven't seen this.
Well, we're going.
I'll pull it up for you. ESPN reported Bill got in a car accident last night. No, who knows? Who knows? We don't know. I don't want to spread any false rumors because I feel like I would have seen that on Twitter. But
yeah, that's kind of crazy. Maybe that's just a joke. I don't know. Maybe that's someone hoping Bill doesn't show up on. Well,
look, here's the thing for Bill. This is an opportunity for him to let us know whether he was either just letting Bryce play ball back there because Bryce is a savant, or if he's going to get some people open, tailor the game for Jalen Milroe to allow him to be a threat in the running game. And when they start stacking the box and trying to stop him, he gets to throw to a few open receivers. Now, I feel like that should be fairly easy to do in this situation, but Justin told us they had a pretty good pass defense. So, we'll see.
They have a decent pass defense. I was looking for the, I guess, positive in that inning side of the field, but
just doing them a favor, tossing a bone.
As far as we've been struggling with wide receivers. The short game really plays into the hands of some of these young guys we have, like Isaiah Bond, Kobe Prentice, and supposedly Tyler Harrell today, but also JoJo Earl. If the guys can catch the ball, I really like their shiftiness and their athletic ability to be able to do some great things, because I saw a little bit of that from Isaiah Bond this past week. Man, if you look at him closely, I start seeing shades of Jalen Waddle. Man, the guy is shifty, breaking ankles.
Same thing here. I like that. I like that analogy because I kind of felt this. I was like, wow, we got Waddle on the field today.
It sure did look like it. And it looks like JoJo Earl is back to 100%. I saw some boost in his step. Didn't look like he was slowed a bit. So I'm excited what we could possibly do with him. I've been riding high on him for a while, and I felt like this was going to be a year before he got hurt, of course, the way he was going to emerge, because he was drawing a lot of criticism.
Got that. Well, guys, before our first guest gets here, we've got Tim Ham from Sports Illustrated supposed to join us in the next few minutes. But while we wait on him, let's talk a little bit about some of the noon games today, because for some reason the SEC's decided that we're going to be like the Big Ten or
slap all our games at
and
noon.
Start playing breakfast games all the time, which is whatever. 3 games in the SEC. We got Missouri headed to Florida 11-point favorite. Tennessee headed to LSU in what we like to call a WTF line. Why in the hell is LSU only a 3-point dog to Tennessee today at noon? And then you got Archie heading over to Mississippi State in the Archie's kind of fallen off the planet bowl, right?
I have a theory of why they're lining it up like they do. They used to line all these games up at night, and Bama still had the biggest draw, but it would still pull away from Bama a little bit. If you had Arkansas and State or Tennessee and LSU would pull a few million. Bama's the biggest draw in college football. They've got them playing solo in the SEC. Now they're going to get every eye versus splitting time at that 7 o'clock slot. You're splitting time at that noon slot with those type games.
That's kind of how it works anytime CBS takes that night option.
Yeah.
I think they maybe have 2 of those a year where they can do 2 night games. This is going to be the first one. I'm just praying, and I haven't looked, but I'm hoping Gary's doing the early game.
Yeah.
Anybody know?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. What does Gary do in this?
Let's just hope he's at the.
But, man, I didn't derail. We do have a huge game at noon. That LSU-Tennessee game, man, it's big test for Tennessee. Is this a trap game for them? You know, going down to Death Valley, they're kind of a hot Hendon Hooker's in the Heisman conversation now. Heupel's got them rolling. Is Tennessee back? This is heading in that you got Alabama coming next week. Are they overlooking LSU at all, giving LSU and what they were? This line's kind of funky, guys. What y'all think?
It is kind of funky, but I've got to pump the brakes on you guys for a second because it looks like we've got our guy, our first guest in the green room. So I'm going to bring him in. And Justin, why don't you give us a good introduction for Mr. Ham, sir?
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the best guys to ever do it in terms of covering many aspects of college football, pro football, and a guy I call a friend, anything really. And some most entertaining podcasts. We have Tim Ham in the building. Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Hello, boys. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Excited that we had you on last year. We figured we'd make a tradition of it. Hopefully the same result on our end won't happen, but hey, we decided to give it a go anyway.
Correct. And boy, I don't know that I would anticipate that at all for you. So.
Oh, wow. So we got a different pulse on the Aggies this week.
Yeah, boys. When Justin asked me to come on and talk Aggies, I'm like, all right, how can I possibly put a positive spin on this for the Aggies? And I thought about it for a couple of days, and the fact is I just can't. There's absolutely nothing positive about this game for the Aggies, for the program right now, the direction the team is headed. There's no positive spins anywhere within the Aggies football program right now, especially going up against Alabama and Tuscaloosa. Just can't do it.
Well,
Tim, that wasn't expected going into this, was it?
No, that's the game that we all, as Aggies fans, circle on the calendar every year, along with a couple others. But it's been tremendously disappointing the last 2 years. Of course, last season ended up very unexpectedly, but I just don't think that's possible again this year. Just, that was quite a surprise, but at least you had a quarterback who had been coming into the game last year that had shown a few signs of kind of figuring things out, and, a defense that was playing really, really well. But, this season, the defense is okay. And an okay defense is by far the best side of the ball on this team. And I don't even know who's playing quarterback today, to be honest with you. They may pull a dude out of the 12th man area there at Kyle Field and take him to Tuscaloosa and say, just do something, because
I wouldn't be shocked if they had some kind of ringer.
Oh, it is ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous right now.
Is it not King?
I haven't heard, to be honest with you. I woke up early this morning and I was making some texts and trying to confirm something to tell you guys, but I mean, I guess it's going to be King. That would be my professional opinion. But if that's the case, good God, you guys might hang 100 because it's going to be 3 and out. Y'all are going to get a lot of opportunity to score. That's for dang sure.
There has been some speculation that your heralded freshman quarterback may take the field. Is it the right move? And if he does take the field, what does he bring the offense that Haynes King doesn't? Which could be a lot, but go ahead.
Well, here's the thing about Connor Weigman is, he hasn't had a lot of playing time. So I don't think we know what we have with him. And I'll tell you, I was at the spring game, the Aggie maroon and white game, and out of the 3 at the time, he looked the best out of all of them, out of Johnson, King, and of course himself. But of course, King named the starter, which I think surprised everybody going into the season. And Jimbo's always a little sketchy about naming a starting quarterback. He did this last year before he named King the starter right before week 1 Kent State.
Mm-hmm.
And we know what happened to King last year, and Zach Calzada coming in and doing what he did, which wasn't much, but, won 8 games. I think we know what we get with King at this point, and it's not good. I think with Weigman being here, and again, as a true freshman, I hate to throw him just into the Alabama game in Tuscaloosa as his first start. So, again, that's why I think King's going to be starting. But I would be surprised to see Weigman come in if things get out of hand very early or late. I can certainly see him coming in slop up time or just if King is that ineffective. Look for Weigman to come in, and I think he's the best quarterback on the roster right now.
Understandable. I do have to ask a question. Of course, if you've been covering the Aggies for some time for Sports Illustrated, I'm going to look at the locker room. Where is the locker room right now in terms of buying into Jimbo? Does he have the full support of the locker room? Because if I look at the body language, it says something different on the field. Then I'm seeing images or videos of players imitating Fast and the Furious in a parking deck, and then other players are liking or retweeting criticisms of their coach on social media. It just seems to me like the locker room may be hanging on a thread, but I'm not there. You're front and center. You're on the front line, so you see a lot more than I do. So where is the locker room? Does he still have it, or is it kind of hanging on thread, contingent on what they do today and maybe a couple of games in the near future?
If nothing else, Jimbo Fisher is really good at sticking up for his guys and sharing the blame when things go bad, and he's been doing that. I don't think he's lost the room. I think it's teetering for sure, just because losses with any team in any sport bring uncertainty and questions. And certainly when you've got a guy heading your program who was, number one, this quarterback whisperer, so-called, and guru coming out of Florida State, getting all the money to win games, and you're near the bottom in every offensive category in FBS right now, and he's the play caller, and it's basically we have co-offensive coordinators. What the heck?
Too many Chiefs on the team, huh?
And Jimbo still calls the plays, and they're his plays that are failing. So certainly, I think players in the locker room look at that, and they're gonna have question marks over their head. I don't think he's lost the room. I don't think he's lost the team or anything like that. But man, I can certainly see if things go south the rest of the year, that could become an issue with some of the players. Keep in mind, Jimbo's recruited these guys, but that doesn't mean they're all buying into the program for sure. And that could be a bad situation really, really fast.
Well, Tim, to kind of piggyback on that question and take in a different direction, look, man, it's no secret that A&M is one of the wealthiest programs in all of college football, and there is no doubt that they have put the money into this program, and not to win in the long term, but to win now. And I know there's been crazy numbers reported on the recruiting class and whatever, it's legal now. So what? I'm talking about the $100 million for your coach and all this. At what point, with that much money involved in it and what the buyouts are, where's the pitchfork moment for the fan base? I mean, they weren't expecting losses. Losing to Alabama is one thing, but losing to Appalachian State, losing roughly in Starkville, I don't think that was the expectation. Where is that? Where are they at? Where's their pulse right now?
I think it started a little bit last year when those 4 losses that you had were to Arkansas. And I was at that Arkansas game there, the Southwest Classic. I was there again this year. Mm-hmm. And things just aren't going well. They weren't going well last year. The 4 losses you had last year, what was it? LSU, the last game of the season, Mississippi State, Alabama, or Arkansas, and Ole Miss were the 4 losses last year. The 4 teams that you should have beat. You should have lost to Alabama, so you got one back there. Yeah. And this year, it's that Appalachian State loss, and it wasn't just the way they lost; they just played poorly. I mean, it was just a badly played game. And I think that's what the fan base looks at more. Like, we get it. You're going to lose some games. It's college football. It's, Division I. They're all trying hard. But it's the way that they lose some of these games when it just looks like it's a lack of effort or a lack of camaraderie, just the team not gelling. And you do see defensive guys looking at offensive guys like, what the heck are y'all doing?
I mean, you can only bail them out for so long before you just get sick and tired of it, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm getting sick and tired of it, and I'm a Jimbo guy. Yeah. But I'm, at times I'm trying to again put positive spin on things when I'm writing my articles. I can't.
Well, I'll give you a little golden nugget, I guess, in there. Does this not look a lot like last year? You guys had a couple embarrassing, or not really embarrassing as much as this year, but a couple losses that you shouldn't have lost, and then you come in and play like a totally different team. Is there any chance we see something like that? Has Jimbo saved all of his, once he lost to App State, did he say, look, I'm putting all in on Bama to win this game to save the mentality everywhere?
If the Aggies beat Alabama and they end up losing 5 games this year, I don't think it matters.
Nah.
That number 5 is going to be what people are looking at. And then the losses like last year, like you lost to Ole Miss, you lost to Mississippi State. I mean, I don't think the Alabama game, Aggies fans don't care anymore. Hey, if we beat Alabama, great. If we don't, then that's just going to be another loss along the road of 5 or 6 losses and, no bowl eligibility probably towards the end of the season and just another embarrassing year under Jimbo Fisher.
Yeah, this isn't the Big Ten where we hand out a trophy every week, right? There's no trophy for this game.
There's no trophy. Maybe if they come up with some sort of trophy or plaque or something, we can all woohoo, we beat Alabama. But I just don't care anymore. Just beat somebody you're supposed to beat, and it's ridiculous.
Sure. I mean, I think the fan base was at Alabama was almost a little taken aback last night because we've all seen the spectacle that is the yell practice, and that's pretty crazy. It's nuts, right? And they showed up, and it seemed like they brought the B team last night because the guy that was telling the hanky-panky story forgot his lines.
God, what an embarrassment that is even sometimes, I swear. I come from a long line of Aggies. My dad played for Bear Bryant at A&M.
Cool. Very cool.
Really?
That's a good side note, man. That's awesome.
Wait, he was one of the Junction boys?
My dad was a Junction boy.
No shit.
That's
awesome. I didn't know that.
My dad was a Junction boy that quit.
Oh, really?
Hey, one of the smart ones.
It was kind of rough, man. It's understandable.
But he was asked by Bear Bryant personally to come back on the team after they got back from Junction. Like, he wanted him to play. My dad was 5'7", 142 pounds, and he played center.
Oh, wow. So he was having a very rough week in Junction. Good
You're
Lord.
deep-rooted A&M.
Yeah, I am. And, even for me, some of these traditions are just borderline ridiculous.
Okay, for the outsider who hasn't been in the old Southwestern Conference, we've been our SEC traditions. Weird to us as Auburn at this point. So we weren't used to explain it. To a fan, look, man, the yell practice does seem a little. Is there a way to make it normal where we don't see it and say, man, that's kind of weird. What are those people doing? That's kind of. Is there a way that we're like
it? Like, yeah, the story that they tell every week. What's the backstory on that story?
Bless you, Tim. We didn't mean it. We were not trying to kill you, buddy.
No, seriously.
We got Alabama this week, and we're trying to stay focused on Alabama without embarrassing ourselves even more as Aggies.
Come on. No. Well, look, I'm gonna tell you that is probably the single best away game I've ever been to when I went to Texas A&M.
Right,
God, it was so hospitable,
great
man. I mean, I felt like I was part of the Aggie team. After we won that game, Johnny Manziel just beat us the year before. I go out there, we win kind of a crazy game, and the fans, like, I swear, a guy tried to unpack his car and make me a burger because our ride wasn't there yet. I mean, they were so nice. So, I mean, I have to give a lot of props to that fan base.
And I've been to a lot of stadiums and the A&M experience at Kyle Field, even if you're not an Aggie fan, is one of the best in the country for sure. They're the most hospitable, even for opposing fans and players. But that midnight yell is just getting borderline embarrassing, and that's all I can really say. It's you know what? It's a high school. We've all been to high school pep rallies. The Friday you get out of class for a class or whatever, go to the gym, and you have your pep rally. That's really what it is, but with about 60,000 people there at midnight.
How do they get that many people to keep showing up? Is my big. That's amazing.
That's crazy. It is.
It's what people. That's what you want. I mean, there's nothing else to do in College Station at midnight. Okay, I'll be honest with you.
Well, Ole Miss can't get 60,000 to show up to a football game, much less the pep rally.
Well, and you know what? Attribute that to the fan base for showing up for stuff like that because before. Bonfire was no different. I was at the Bonfire in 99.
Oh, really?
I came home the day before the collapse. And, it was no different when it was, going full full bore. Everybody showed up for that, and that was an unofficial school event. That was just planned by the student body. So, again, attribute loyalty to the fans and the fact that they still have midnight yell and that they do silly little things like that. But at some point, the support, and you know what? They'll always do that. This could be a winless team, and they will still get 60,000 people, 70,000 people for midnight
There's
yell.
got to be something said about that, man.
Yeah. That's why you can afford to have a $100,000 buyout. I mean, $100 million buyout.
Maybe they'll be using that sooner than later. I don't know. Hopefully, but
look, here's the thing, and I want to ask this to you. Like, let's just say, would you be mad at Jimbo if he said, "Look, I get paid way more to lose"?
No,
I wouldn't either. I mean, like, $100 million is a lot of money.
Yeah,
and Jimmy Sexton's sitting over there like, "I'll take my 10% today."
My running joke in the household to my wife is, "I'm sorry I didn't get good enough to get fired as an SEC coach."
You know what? There's something to be said about that for sure.
Absolutely. Auburn's still paying Gus Malzahn's salary down there, right?
Oh, almighty.
Right.
I don't know. The Aggies might still be paying Dennis Francione. I was
about to say, I think they're paying.
Bama might still be. No, he left us, I think. So
yeah, that's right.
Well, are there? We've done the Bama Texas A&M thing, and we got a couple more minutes here left with you. Are there any other games that you've got your eye on out here today, Tim?
Well, I'll be at OU Texas or Texas OU if you're from Texas. I have no affiliation with either team, so I've always referred to it as Texas OU just because I'm in Dallas, and this one might be one of the, this is where what College game day should be. Yeah. Both of these teams should be garnering enough national attention and respect for College game day to be here. Yet they're up in Lawrence this week, right?
They're at Kansas when Texas A&M's playing Alabama and Texas is playing Oklahoma.
You've got a 17 and a 19 matchup between Kansas and TCU. So, I mean, I guess
they're trying to hype that one up for the. They're trying to hype that one up for the gamblers because there's some pretty important trends going on in that game.
Big time, oh for sure, big time. But yeah, I'll be sparing everybody to death at the OU Texas Red River rivalry. It's hard to say at the Cotton Bowl in the little tiny 100-year-old press box that is at the Cotton Bowl. It's funny. I go from for those of you guys that have experienced the press box experience, I go from AT&T Stadium, Jerry World, which is just the epitome of luxury, and everything about it is luxurious. Each reporter has his own locker behind him where you can lock up your crap, and with a little key or a combination, whatever you prefer. You've got vibrating massage chairs. You've got a desk in front of you that's 36 inches deep to put all your crap. You've got air conditioning ducts. Literally, you can adjust, like being in an airplane. And then you go to the Cotton Bowl, where, and again, this press box, I think, was last redone in the mid-'50s. And the colors show it. You barely have internet. You barely have plugs for your stuff. But the chairs are bolted to the floor. And they're these little swiveling, like elementary school hard plastic chairs. I'm kind of a big guy. All right. I'm 6'1", 265. I've got one of these. That chair and swiveling it around. It's like a punch in the gut. And I'm there the whole game. And by the way, it's about an 18-inch desk in front of me for my iPad, my laptop, my note cards. It's just a weird.
You're giving me like PTSD from when we used to have to go watch football games in Legion Field in Birmingham.
Oh Lord!
Not to mention that I've got a park. I've got a park with State Fair of Texas parking.
Oh, yeah.
I've got to walk to the stadium fighting through the literal crowds of people. I mean, butt to nut, all the way to the freaking stadium.
LSU fans are everywhere because all you smell is corn dog.
Yeah.
Nice dig.
I don't get paid enough for Red River rivalry. That's for damn sure. But it's always fun. It's a fun game. I'll be watching that quite a bit. And, man, I'm looking for this year. Again, I'm not a fan of either team, but man, Texas may roll. And I hate to say that,
I don't think Dylan Gabriel's playing today. I think he's out, and that
he's out.
They don't have any offense.
Is Ewers back today?
It won't matter,
playing, right?
Yeah. Ewers supposed to be back today.
Yeah. All right.
It might not matter.
Well, we hope you enjoy your position as conscientious observer over there for that one, right? You got anything you want to tell our fans, like any shows you want to plug or what's going on with you right now before we get you out of here?
Just if there's Aggies fans listening, make sure you go to allaggies.com. That's where our Sports Illustrated avenue for everything Aggies. We do live game updates over there. The live game blog will be there during the games if you can't watch them or listen to them. Just all the opinion, a lot of analysis over there for anything Aggies. I do a podcast a couple times a week called the Aggies Daily Blitz. It's weird. It should be every day because it's called the Daily Blitz, but I just don't have that dedication yet. I'm getting there. Just found on any of your podcast apps, the Aggies Daily Blitz. I do a fun show that I know Justin's a fan of called the Drunk Sports Podcast. We do that Monday night, 7 to 9, and Wednesday night, 7 to 9 on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, all that good stuff. You can just search the Drunk Sports Podcast, and you'll find a lot of stuff on us. We're having a lot of fun. We have fun.
That sounds like our cup of tea.
It definitely
that
is.
sounds like a lot of fun for me. I mean, look here, I'm already keeping one handy.
Bloody Mary number 2, sir.
Bloody Mary number 4, sir.
Haven't thrown the counter in yet.
Give me a
That's
funnel.
Fantastic.
Stat. I got to
Tim,
catch up with this Aggie.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
for
thank
being
you,
with
brother.
us today. It is
Always
always
fun.
a pleasure to have you here and telling us, what's going on, the pulse of the Aggies, and also any of my gamblers out there. The best way to get an edge on something is go to these local message boards and hear from the people that are on the ground, like Tim and stuff down there, and you can get an edge sometimes. So not just Texas A&M Aggies fans, all of our fans need to go and allaggies.com.
That's it.
All right, good deal. Well, thanks for being here, Tim. We appreciate
Yes,
you
sir.
very
Thank
much.
you, sir. Enjoyed it.
You bet. Thanks.
All right, see ya.
That was
That's a
fun.
great guy right there, Justin.
Oh, man. I
Thanks
always
for getting
enjoy
him on here
talking
for
to
us.
Tim. I wanted to get him on the Bama Standard earlier this week, but he has like 1,000 other shows that we just found out about, so he wasn't able to do that. But always good to get him here on Saturday before we get things.
Well, that's
really
the beauty
rolling.
of us because we sneak it. Nobody else wants to compete with game day, right? And we're like, who cares,
Well, I
right? And
appreciate
so we
it.
can get them in.
For outsiders who wonder about the Yell thing, I think he did give a good perspective. Yeah, even we see it as weird. So it kind of lets us know, okay, they know it's weird, but it's just a tradition thing. So I kind of a little better spot with Yell practice now, I guess.
Hey, Pettey, I'm proud of you because you really held back there. I was really expecting you to go
You didn't
off
say
the rails.
dude cheerleaders once.
I didn't say
You
dude
did.
cheerleader one time.
Man. So
That's awesome.
man,
Well, guys,
he's
I don't know if
growing.
you've noticed this, but our second guest is already in the green room
Nice.
waiting on us. So this
go.
guy is someone that Pettey has a lot of fondness for, brings him back to childhood a little bit, I believe. But we're going to show you a quick video clip first, and then I'll let Pettey bring our guest on, all right? Might take me a second to find my video clip now that I've been moving around. Producing and talking on a podcast is quite difficult, guys, so y'all give that a try sometime. Here we go. Here's our video.
14. This team down 14.
All right, there you go.
Technical.
It's good. Corey Peterson. And the Rebels lead 15. Team down 14. Down.
All right, Pettey, take it away.
Yeah, man, that was on my 18th birthday, and now all these years later, I get the honor to introduce the quarterback who threw the pass that gave me the best birthday gift of the year. I jumped on my dad's back we ran around like a 10-year-old. Man, none other than Ole Miss legend, quarterback from 95 to 97, Stuart Patridge. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate y'all having me on.
Great to have you.
Yeah, man, it's quite an honor, Stuart. I know I've led a lot of Rebel fans that I know that you were coming on the show, and man, when your name gets brought up, it's it still rings in the heart of so many Rebels.
Well, I certainly appreciate that. I mean, and after the game and the fans ran on the field, I mean, that's what it's all about. So everybody, I consider all the fans part of the team too. So,
it's funny you ran into the arms of Robert Reed, and both me and Justin went to Northwest, and Robert was like the icon when we were there. But
that's right.
yeah, man. But it was so many moments, Stuart. It wasn't. How many times have you seen that 2-point conversion now?
Quite a few. I told Corey Peterson, I said, we're like a couple of good old fishermen. And of course, the fish gets bigger and bigger, and we get better and better.
That's right. That's right. But man, but it gets lost in that. It wasn't just the Corey Peterson play. There was a couple plays like hitting Hurd over the middle on third and what seemed like 50, and there was just so many improbable plays.
Yeah, third and I think it was third and 23. It's actually Andre Roan. They called an intentional grounding, and I thought they were going to call a personal foul late hit. Coach Sherrill, the referee, was right by him. I guess he got scared and called intentional grounding.
Yeah.
I said, I can't get that. I don't have the arm or athletic ability to get it in closer to the receiver, but I was throwing it to him.
I was trying.
So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, Andre made a big catch on that.
That's right. It was wrong, not hurt. It was the one over the middle. God, I should remember better. I guess you look, I'm an Ole Miss fan. We've had a few cocktails over the years. It gets a little fuzzy, Stuart.
You're doing your job. You're yelling. So you're excited.
Well, man, you had several. That wasn't the only big game, man. I remember the game in Athens your junior year seemed to be the breakout game when we went over there and beat Georgia when they had Hines Ward and Kreitz brought them down. And look, in the game down in Baton Rouge that nobody will ever forget when they were number 6 in the country coming off that win against number 1 Florida. What game sticks out to you, man?
Well, I think it's just a combination of all of those. If you look at our roster, we had the worst sanctions by the NCAA next to the death penalty SMU had.
Yep.
So that my senior year, we only had, I think, me and my dad argued about this, either 59 or 61 scholarship guys. We finished in the top 25. Beat 4 ranked teams. The teams we lost to, were all top-ranked teams. So we just, a good group of seniors, a lot of young guys that played well. Deuce McAllister of the world only come around, once in a lifetime, but had Corey, like I mentioned earlier, Corey Peterson, Grant Hurd. Those guys were young guys. We all came together, and the line actually was able to play a whole season together. It had so many injuries the previous years. So it was a special time, and it got Ole Miss back on I think from that year, we went to 7 or 8 straight bowl games, one of only one other SEC school that had done that. And, of course, once Eli came in and just really, got Ole Miss football back where it was, I'm glad I was part of that, group that got that started.
Yeah, but Stuart, I think what Tuberville did bringing you in, and like you said, we came out of that borderline death penalty probation. Look, Eli definitely took us to the next level, but
right.
it was guys like you that paved that, you and Romero that paved that path to even be able to get there, I believe, because if we don't do that, Eli's not coming to Ole Miss.
That's exactly right. So, great group of guys. Just, I'm a fan now, just like everybody else. Just glad to be a Rebel.
Speaking of fan, man, you were kind of part of a renaissance with Tuberville, and look, and I love Luke. He was your center and is one of the greatest Rebels.
Great. I can't say enough about him as a person to begin with, but as a coach, player, just a great guy.
Oh, he did something for me that nobody will ever know. That when my dad was sick, that ingrains me to coach Luke for life. And I got to play baseball a little bit when his brother was coaching, but unfortunately, we hit some rough times as Ole Miss, and then Keith Carter hires Lane Kiffin, and the next thing you know, 2 years later, it's kind of like with Tuberville again.
That's right.
Have you ever seen Ole Miss with this type of national spotlight? What's your thoughts on where Kiffin has done so far?
It's exciting, and especially with social media, and it's just so many outlets, and you can really get a momentum going. And he's done a great job with that, and his staff putting together their staff. Even after losing 2 coordinators last year, seemed to, they've been replaced and kept that continuity and just, playing inspired good football, both sides of the ball, offense, defense, special teams. So, man, I'm excited.
Yeah. And it is an exciting time. I was telling somebody the other day, I've loved Ole Miss since I was a kid. But I can't, and I was telling my daughter, I was like, soak this up. I don't remember a time coming off the national championship in baseball and what Kiffin's done where, like last weekend against Kentucky, I hate to say it, but those are games as Ole Miss fans, we're biting our nails off because we usually find a way to.
Maybe not finish. And it's all about
that's a good way to put it.
That's what the good teams do. That's exactly right.
Coming from an Alabama coming from an Alabama fan standpoint, we're just outside looking in. I'm a little bit, I'm like 49% Ole Miss because I'm married into an Ole Miss family. So, I had to stick with my 51 Bama, but I am very, we'll say that I am compassionate to the hotty-toddy cheers. Right?
You understand.
One thing, when I went to school in Alabama, which was, 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, we got hit with a major probation, and it annihilated our program. Like, the fact that you guys were able to still have a successful season says so much about y'all after seeing what that's done to us and all the other programs that have gone through that. So, number one, kudos on that. And then number two, it's really easy for Alabama fans to like Ole Miss now because of Kiffin being there. I don't know a single Bama fan that wasn't so sad when he left.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we're, like I said, under circumstances, Coach Luke, being replaced by Kiffin, but, excited. He's really done a great job. I think his winning percentage at Ole Miss now is 7-14. So, had won some big games too.
And I hope over time Luke is more viewed for the blood and sweat that he gave when he went against the defensive lineman at LSU and big dude at State and worked on him and all those things. I hope it's not Luke is, like I said, he's one of the greatest Rebels to ever suited up and handed you the ball, one of our others. So it was such a, like I said, he's done so much for the program. It helped get us. And look, he took over at a tough time. He wasn't handed a good. It wasn't like he was handed a silver platter to work with.
No, that's right.
Now, as much as people want to revere Freeze, the recruiting fell off on the defensive side of the ball, and they don't realize it wasn't much left when he came to pick up the pieces.
That's right.
Off of that, man, you played one of your biggest wins was at Death Valley, against LSU, like I said, after that big win, but it was during the day. Did you ever, and I should have looked this up, and I should remember, and I'm an idiot Ole Miss fan for this. Did you ever play them at night down there?
I was not the starting quarterback. I've been down there when we played them at night.
Was it Paul Head?
Oh, whoa!
Playing there at night.
Uh-huh.
My dad played at Mississippi State, so before we went down there, I said, "What's it like?" Because I'm just like y'all. I'd heard, at nighttime, the ground shakes, moves, and it's just totally. It's an experience like no other, for sure. We played down there, and they beat us pretty good. They had Kevin Falk, a couple other running backs.
Rondell Mealy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were just stacked, and so they got us pretty good. So then we fast forward to my senior year. They're number 8 in the country. They had just beat Florida, who was number 1. And Doug Johnson, who was a good quarterback, they picked him off 5 times, 2 for touchdowns. I forgot how many times he sacked him. And me and Coach Zoney are watching film, and we're just looking at it, rewinding. And they're just decimating Florida. And I was just like, goodness gracious. Neither one of us really wanted to say, boy, this looks pretty
this is going to be tough.
But luckily, we did get them at the 11:30 game. So I do recommend if you're scheduling against LSU, try to get it in the daytime. It's not quite.
They weren't quite awake and drunk. What they're trying to counteract that this week. They're letting them in the stadium at like 9 a.m. to start drinking. So maybe they can counteract and get a little night game.
When they've got a jail inside the stadium. It's a little different than anywhere else.
Look, my dad waited till I was old enough to take me to Baton Rouge. My first time to go to Baton Rouge was Eli's freshman year because my dad felt I was old enough to be able to maybe fight my way out of the stadium if I had to.
He's been a good father, making good choices for sure. But it turned out that we were able to. Coach Pizzoni put together a great game plan. Pretty much caught everything from the line. We made them check. They played a lot of man, so a lot of what offenses do now. I grew up in there. It was still 2-back offenses, power I. All of this didn't. Changed to the shotgun, which we ran a lot, but it was because of injury as opposed to that's what the offense changed to. So,
really,
but it was an exciting time. So,
well, no doubt. Man, I could talk old Ole Miss stories all day, but man, I know a lot of people are excited about the game today and the team we have now. As a former quarterback, what do you think about our UC transfer with Michael's favorite one black eye, Mr. Dart?
I tell you what, he's a lot of upside. He's 5-0 as a starter, so I'm excited about him. I hope he doesn't. I hope he learns to slide or get out of bounds. Sometimes quarterbacks looking, who want to be thought of as a tough guy too. I want him to make the whole season. So, but
he seems to be the one making the hits sometimes instead of taking them.
That's exactly
well,
right.
I know he's living right because last week I made fun of his one black line down his eye. My wife's sitting down there. I'm like, why don't your quarterback got the one black line? That's so odd. And lo and behold, Monday morning I was walking out of my bedroom and I walked directly into the door and they got a little black eye right here from it. So obviously he's living right.
It's Ole Miss karma in that house.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah.
Well,
At least
well,
you're
Stuart,
smart enough to marry an Ole Miss lady.
Hey, I went to Ole Miss my freshman year, and I was like, why didn't I go to school here? The girls are way prettier. No offense to Alabama. We got some good ones, but Ole Miss is...
And I married
Yeah.
a Bama guy.
It's funny how all of us are, Alabama guys with Ole Miss ties. I went to University of Alabama same time that Michael was there, but I come from a long line of Ole Miss people. So I'm kind of the black sheep. But I always had a love and appreciation for the Rebels. But as a football fan, we always look for that quarterback who has ice in his veins. And that definitely was you for two reasons. One, if you look at the defenses back when you were there, I mean, in 1997 alone, you had guys like Al Wilson, Takeo Spikes, Leonard Little, Deshae Townsend, Fernando Bryant, Kirby Smart,
Dwayne Rudd.
And this is back, before targeting and all the little ticky-tacky penalties you see today. But
trust me, if you can't, I've got a bunch of scars on my neck from fusions. I know all about that. We played.
No, I'm sorry. I look at your debut against Georgia, 4th and 2, game on the line, served as a precursor to what I just said, the ice in the veins quarterback. How big was coming away with that win for you as far as getting your career started?
Well, it's clear, and the quarterback has to play with confidence, confidence in himself, the team, knowing what's going on in the game plan for anybody to be successful. And I think on the road, winning at the end, throwing past Eli Andy, who played linebacker most of the game, just shows you how versatile all our players were. So it was exciting. It's that moment where you go, hey, I can't compete here. I can be successful. We can be pretty good. And that just carried on over into the next seasons.
No doubt. And I do have a question. You have two guys that sticks out to me as some of the most athletic players to ever play, not only at Ole Miss, but in college football, Taboris Fisher and John Avery. Who was the bigger freak, I guess you could say, between the two of those guys? Because those guys are amazing.
I had met Taboris, I guess, summer before our senior year. I went to junior college for 1 year, went to Mississippi Delta, we won a national championship, and then I came to Ole Miss. So I already knew about Taboris, but just a professional, hardworking. I mean, going to be the first one at practice, going to pick the team up. Clearly a wide receiver. When he left school, he was the all-time. I think he had broke Floyd Frank's record because I threw the pass all-time reception record. Just an outstanding guy to be around. And then John Avery, I've seen some fast guys in my lifetime. The first day of practice, they started the clearinghouse, so people couldn't get to practice right at 2 a day. They couldn't get it right when they transferred from Northwest. And so we'd already started practicing. We were in Shales the first day in practice, and we were running an inside drill, which is, the interior line, and they got the linebackers, maybe a safety, depending on what we're doing. And when I tell you he took the ball, of course, I'm getting to see it all from the quarterback position on the outside zone. I think he made everybody on the defense miss. He started right off right tackle, went across, and that's one of the few times I've just been in awe of, that's something different. He could catch some light feet and could move them fast.
Well, maybe you can confirm a story that I heard as an Ole Miss fan, and this is back in the day where you didn't have the internet, so not know if it was true. I knew Avery wore number 20 for Barry Sanders. That was his idol, and when y'all played in the Motor City Bowl, he got to meet Barry. Did he challenge Barry to a race?
I'm knowing John Avery, I'm sure he did, but he did get to meet John Avery. The Detroit Lions were in the playoffs, so I had an opportunity to meet him. I'm almost positive, John. That's a true story. So.
That's funny. Gosh, he was fast. I'll never forget when he took that ball against Arkansas at like the 3-yard line, and man,
Yeah, I was so thankful. I got my nose broke to play before. And it's tears, and I'm handing off. I was like, please keep going. Please keep going.
I can't see. Go.
Yeah, but he was really one of those guys that every time he touched it, it literally could be a touchdown, And think about how fast the defenses are. You were just talking about earlier in the SEC, and he was that, electric. Boy, he could run.
Oh man, he could. I loved some Avery. Again, that was my high school day. So that's when I was actually living in Tuscaloosa, Alabama at the time. So trying to keep up with y'all was very hard. And I love some John Avery. Yeah. But man, back to the game. I hate to bring us back to today, man. Vanderbilt, even in your day, good Lord, did they make us play some of the ugliest football games we've ever played in our history. And here we go. We're heading up to Nashville today.
Always a tough place to play. They're always going to, the records might not always show it, but they're always going to, you're going to have to earn your win when you go there. So, I mean, this team, though, we seem to, each week we do what it takes. And I think they understand we got an opportunity now to really, now getting in the SEC play, really do something special. So I hope they continue that. I believe they will.
Think they will? So we're good with the Rebels minus 17 today, Stu? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm right there with you. I think your running backs are going to have a field day today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I appreciate you,
Alabama,
letting us get Judkins over there from Alabama.
Wow, how did we lose that
man,
guy?
What a miss on that one for us. Jeez,
that
like
kid Josh Jacobs clone.
Nick Saban fired an evaluator over that. I promise.
Had to have.
Had to.
I mean,
he's like Kevin's out there watching him in the rain.
We're glad to have him as a Rebel now, for sure.
Dude, Judkins, is he the best? He's got to be the best freshman running back we've had since Deuce, right?
Yeah, and kind of like Deuce can run inside, can run outside. But all the guys in the backfield, and like we were talking earlier, even Dart.
Heck's kid's a runner, but man, he's got that. Man, I hate to bring up Luke, but he's got Matt's brother's mentality. Tom used to love to pick out a linebacker and try to run him over. I'm like, dude,
exactly. I know. Stop. That's why I'm hoping he'll
stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, Judkins is as game ready of a freshman as I've seen in a while. Imagine, I'm sure he's got a lot of development left to go. Can't wait to see him as a junior. Won't see him as a senior, I don't think.
No, if he gets trending that way, yeah.
Gone.
But
no doubt,
man, Stuart, it has been. So, are you like? Do you go? How much do you get to go see the Rebs these days? Are you up there most time? Are you?
I try to get to. I'd like to go to all the home games. Don't always get a chance to, but I still get up to some home games. Got season tickets, so
one of the knocks.
Place you never have to leave, but I still get back to most of the home games.
One of the knocks, or what it seems has been a problem that Ole Miss had in the past, was kind of bringing former players back in and keeping them a part of the program. And that might not be the issue with you, but I've heard gripes of that in the past, and it seems like that is something Lane is also trying to rectify, bringing back. You're seeing Gerald Poe doing voiceovers and bringing back all these guys that you just didn't see on campus as much. Seems like he's really making an effort to do that.
Right, and I think we've actually got coming up this next weekend, the 14th. Got to get together old players before the game. So I think that's a great idea. It just it brings all generations of not only players but the fans. That rooted for them, that were there, kind of like the stories we shared. This morning. So I think that's a great idea.
Cool. Well, man, Justin touched on something that Michael likes to ask every time we get a former athlete. Because look, we all played ball. Obviously, we love it, but unfortunately, that we're all created equals kind of horse crap. I'm not Takeo Spikes. I'm not Eli Manning. My ceiling. I learned in high school when we played against Bluntton, and I played against DeMarco McNeil, where my high school that was my ceiling. Michael has a question, and like I said, Justin brought up a bunch of the great players you went against. Michael has a question that he loves to ask our former players that we didn't get to experience, that I'd love to know from your side.
Oh, you want me to ask? I was going to let you take it off. I normally ask anybody that's ever played in the game, was there ever a moment when you were playing, and it could even be high school all the way up through college, NFL, whatever level, that you want to bring this from, that you went out on the field and you saw another player and you were just like, damn. That guy, like, like, does there ever been a guy that made you be like, all right, now that's a different level?
This ain't fair.
Dwayne Rudd, John Curse.
Yeah, I'll tell you. We played Florida. My first year at Ole Miss, they were number 1 in the country, and Kevin Carter. I forgot what he played for the Rams. He was 6'6", 295, and this is before you couldn't. Now you can't have your jerseys up on your shoulder pads. I mean, and he had muscles, had about a 34-inch waist. I mean, running down on punt coverage like he's a wideout, and now he's playing defensive end. And then 3 or 4 defensive linemen went in the first round, but he was something, freaking.
Try to stay on the other side of the field from that guy, right?
And the only other time I've ever questioned when you're talking about we were playing Tennessee in the Liberty Bowl my junior year, and I'm running trying to get a first down, and Terry Fair, who played for Detroit, first round pick cornerback.
Yeah.
He was 5'10", 190 pounds, so, and I weighed probably about 212, 210 during the season, So I'm going to try and, get the first down because this junior year, we were having trouble getting first downs. And so I just remember this loud, bam, and it kind of buckles my knees on the sideline. Then I was like, he gets up and is talking all, and I was like, if that guy just hit me like that, I may not be.
This was the little guy. This wasn't Lewis. This wasn't little.
The only time I ever questioned my toughness. Well, fast forward to watching film the next day, and we watched it with the running backs. A real close friend of mine, Eli Andy. We're back there watching film, and it comes to that. Well, it wasn't Terry Fair that had hit me. It was Craig King, their middle linebacker, who weighed about 6'4", about 255. It actually hit me, So then I was like, "Thank goodness that I can take." I couldn't handle I couldn't handle the little quarterback testing my manhood.
I understand that. Hey, but
you did stand across the field from Randy Moss at one time too. That guy was a little quite on.
Yes, for certain. He is, and a good guy, pretty quiet. We did some team functions together.
Really?
But I mean, he could really step out. And Chad Pennington, of course, put it out there to him.
That was kind of the night that Deuce kind of took over late in the game, and I remember we shut Moss down. I know Malik was covering him all night, Malik Griffin.
Yeah, Malik actually, our first play, we throw a 60-yard. I would like to say touchdown. Grant got tackled on the one, scored a touchdown, and then their very next play, they throw one down the field. But after that, we shut him down. Now they had a couple other guys on offense. They had a really good offense. Defense did a great job, and then we drove back down. They go ahead, and the end of the game, we drive back down, and Deuce scores a touchdown, jumped over the top to win at the end. So, very fortunate to play in the SEC. So I've seen a lot of outstanding football players for sure. Some have nightmares, some have smiles.
Well, Stuart is the 18-year-old kid in me, man. This is coming out, which it does every Saturday pretty much, man. Getting to talk to one of my heroes, one of the guys that seriously gave me the greatest 18th birthday present I could ever have asked for. Man, it has been such a pleasure. We really appreciate you coming on our show, our little show here on Saturday, and taking your time out to spend with us.
I appreciate y'all having me. I've really enjoyed this. I'm going to start watching y'all now. So it's
heck yeah. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. I know my wife's family is thrilled right now. They're probably sitting here just enjoying every bit
so
of this.
Is my
they
family
really don't
too.
like to listen to me talk.
So going out, give us a prediction.
On the Ole Miss game, I think we'll win. I think we'll score 34 points, hold them to 7.
Nice.
Okay.
So that's a cover and an under. So, Stuart, lock it in. Stuart, again, man, we really appreciate you today.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you.
It's an honor to meet you. Thank you very much for being
here, brother.
Thank you, guys. Enjoyed it.
All right.
Keep up the good work.
All right.
Man.
Okay,
well, Pettey, how was that for you, buddy?
That was an
y'all
awesome
know
interview.
Y'all know what this does for me. Y'all ain't even got to ask. This kind of, I'll be floating the rest of the day. I'm good, man.
I just love meeting people that are so nice and personable, and they're willing to tell you the stories from like the inside stories that we obviously as fans just don't get. So I absolutely love that. And thanks again if you're still watching, Mr. Partridge. That was fantastic. Patridge, excuse me. Didn't mean the R in there.
Yeah, not the family.
Not the family. Not the weird 70s family. Yeah.
I mean, that was but great insights though from insights from that era that we all grew up, which was probably the era that put the hook in us three that just made us love college football. We remember the Takeo Spikes, the Leonard Littles. That was the big days. It was just, good times. I didn't want to bring up the fact that after we beat LSU the next week, we should have just smoked Alabama. They come to Oxford and somehow fat Freddie Kitchens plays like a damn Heisman candidate for an afternoon. It was the best game of his career.
Actually, man, I rewatched that game.
QBR 30, is that what you're telling me? Best game of his career?
That dude was guaranteed an interception once every three or four throws, too. Good Lord.
Man, that's crazy. Well, look, guys, we spent a lot of time on guests today, so we really didn't get into some of our favorite things, which is picking football games against the spread. So I want to give our boy Pettey an opportunity to throw out anything he's looking at today before we shut this thing down.
Yeah, man, we got a few plays against the spread for y'all if I can find out where the hell I threw them. Okay, I remember where they are anyway. Starting out the day, Liberty, one hand job Hugh Freeze. If you listen to our boy, yeah, you like that, Justin? If you listen to my boy,
can't say Hugh without hand job, guys. We all know that. And knowing that he's probably going to Auburn, we'll get to be saying that a lot.
That's right.
Sounds like an action figure that they would have in their gift shop at Liberty.
That's a weird action figure. It's got like the He-Man Hurricane action, but instead of this one.
You know what? The A&M's got their Yell crew, so why not?
Fair point.
I think if you listen to our boy Neil McCready at Rebel Grove, who has a great insight on the coaching circles, he firmly believes that Hugh is the leader in the clubhouse at Auburn. He's gone silent on social media, which is not Hugh like. Hugh is, politicking for a job. I'm not using the right word every time I try to say interviewing for a job today. And guess who they're playing? UMass, one of Michael's favorite teams to fade.
Favorite team to
Liberty
fade
Liberty minus 24. Hugh's going to run it up. He's wanting that Auburn job. Take the Flames today.
Hey, if there's an over-under on that, I bet UMass can squeeze out 10 or 15 points this week, actually, because they've actually been putting a couple scores on the board this year, way different than last year. So if there's an over on that one, it might even be a good one to play.
Ooh, there you go.
I know we're pissed on time, but if he does go to Auburn, are they going to give him the control he would need to turn that program around?
They've got to.
That's a great question, though, because they also need to handcuff him in some ways. They can't let him. They got to shut his social media down because that's his downfall and his crutch. And it
sounds like that's already done, though.
Does. So then give him the reins on the other side. Who knows, man? The dude can coach.
Can we all step back and say this is probably already a done deal?
I think, dude.
I would think so.
I trust McCready about as much as I do anybody in this shit.
Dude, I didn't know McCready from anybody else in the world before me and Pettey started doing this little show, but he got me watching his stuff on Rebel Grove because obviously I'm not going to pay for that shit, right? But I can look at Pettey's. Sorry for piracy, but McCready's been on point with a lot of his coaching search stuff. I would say he's been 9 out of 10 from what we've been looking at. Maybe 10 out of 10.
He's on it, man, and he's locked in on Freeze to Auburn. But Freeze interviewing
Freeze today. Minus 23.5. Get that locked in. We've got a couple other ones. Since we've got our show out so late last night, we'd love for you all to go and listen to the Week 0 podcast. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on this show right now. I see 9 of you on there. If I don't have at least 9 likes when I get on there.
Same here.
Subscriptions, some subscribers. Subscribe.
Right, subscribe. We got a couple more we're going to throw at you.
Yeah.
There's this TCU-Kansas game today has some pretty crazy trends going on in it. Both teams undefeated against the spread, which is basically unheard of at this point in the season. It's going to be an interesting game to watch, and we think we've got a little bit of an edge on it. We won't tell you why, but we think the Kansas plus 7, which I buy to 7.5 because I hate pushes, is a good bet. What do you think, Pettey?
I like it. We've been following the trend that he's talking about, and there's one side of it we really like or don't like, but there's also a side, I can't get into the secret sauce, but once it goes to a certain level, you just got to ride it, and that's what we're doing.
Indiana sucks. Michigan's going to cover. Boom.
Oh, yeah.
Another one?
I do. Man, homer pick of the day. I hate doing this. I hate homer picks. It's always told you don't bet on your team. Ole Miss is going to roll Vanderbilt today comfortably. I'm with Stuart. Our defense is going to shut that shit down.
And our Week 0 consensus of the week, really quick before we get out, guys. UCLA playing Utah tonight. UCLA is a 3.5-point dog.
Take
I
'em.
might even get on the money line, but definitely take the
Take them.
points with,
UCLA's winning it straight up
UCLA.
tonight. Dorian Thompson. I mean, look, watch it. UCLA.
Look, this sounds stupid, but I've got a reverse bet on money line underdogs with LSU and UCLA today. So we'll see how that pans out.
This is a big day for Tennessee LSU, man. If Tennessee wins,
It's
they're on
huge.
their way. They get a big matchup with Bama, but this is a trap. They better watch the
It
freak
is.
out.
Are they looking ahead? I mean, this is a big moment for Tennessee. They have been relevant for years, and now with expectations on their back and their rival looming, what is their psyche like, guys?
Let me ask you this, Justin, real quick, because you probably know the answer to this. If Alabama should win today and Tennessee should win today, when was the last time Alabama met Tennessee third Saturday in October undefeated on both sides?
Both sides?
Yeah, I don't know. Has it ever happened?
Nah. I would have to go back to the early 90s. I think.
Did the David Palmer year where he ran the 2-point conversion.
Yeah,
I
it was
think
the
that
David
might be the
Palmer
one.
year. It was 1993.
We're talking 30 years, guys, since that's happened. Will the football gods allow that to happen next week?
I want
it?
Bama, Tennessee top 10.
Well, I got LSU in the money line, so I don't want it. But
No,
I
I don't.
want
Yeah,
it.
never mind. Screw
This
it.
game
Screw
is
Tennessee.
interesting, though. LSU has the number one red zone offense. LSU has the number one red zone defense. Tennessee has number one red zone offense. LSU is number one in forcing turnovers, but then you got Tennessee and Hendon Hooker
barely.
who are flawless.
Yes,
So it's hey, and guess what? You're not playing at night in Baton Rouge. The voodoo's not there, so that's another plus in Tennessee side. So unless LSU they were typically known for, unless they can force some kind of crazy weirdness to happen and capitalize off of it, I don't see them hanging around.
Wow. So you like Tennessee. Here's the problem. Tennessee's defense is trash. That's what they've been dealing with all year. It's like a sponge. You can get through it. Just weasel your way through there. So
You want to know how bad,
Jaden
Michael?
Daniels is trash.
tell me how bad. I'd love to hear that.
Okay. Do you remember where Arkansas secondary is ranked?
Lasted.
126. You know where Tennessee's secondary is ranked?
Where?
128 out of 130.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Whoa. But
Then
Jaden
again,
Daniels
LSU
can't
doesn't
throw the ball,
have an
so
offense. They're
But LSU
averaging 14 points a game, maybe.
Jaden Daniels went for 8 for 20 for 80 yards last week. That ain't testing. No, it doesn't matter if your secondary's blind.
Look, Tennessee's defense makes offenses look good. Let's see how good they can make LSU look.
And that hooker, that ain't a cheap hooker.
It's not.
No.
That's an
once he got
expensive
2
hooker in Tennessee.
interceptions to 30 touchdowns in his starts or something, it's stupid. Dude's very efficient, takes care of the ball. You got to love that if you're a Tennessee fan. I'm just playing some wicked voodoo on the 9 a.m. beers on sale at Death Valley. I believe that they're going to get that place just as crazy today at noon as they usually have it at night. And when they're all hot and mad and sweaty too, that place is going to stink.
Oh, that tiger.
All right, guys. Well, I'm going to tell you, I am all out of insights for today. Is there anything else you guys want to say before we get out of here? Maybe, Justin, please plug those shows for us, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I'm a man of many shows, actually. My first and foremost show is the Bama Standard, which you can find on Touchdown Alabama Magazine's YouTube channel every Tuesday night, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. My panel is an all-star cast. Guys like former running back Bo Scarborough, former All-SEC linebacker Marvin Constant, common legend Steve Brown, and senior analyst of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, Stephen N. Smith. Our show is not politically correct, so if you get your feelings hurt real easily, it's not your show. We're 9% nonsense, meaning we're joking on each other, but we do have that little 10% that you definitely need to listen to. We also have legends on every single week. Also, you can find me on the TDA post-game show immediately following every Alabama game. It's me, former Alabama wide receiver Mike McCoy. Tonight we're going to have Charlie Peppera and Bo Scarborough on to give our post-game analysis and take calls. Also, we have
Y'all doing a midnight show tonight, bro?
We are. We're going to be live.
Wow,
Yes,
man.
sir.
I might call into this one. That's going to be a shocker.
Yeah, please do.
Gronk can call in.
Let's see if
Listen.
me and the Colonel can make it in by midnight, right?
Yeah, please do. That would be
Made fun of
entertaining.
Lucian I told your boy Lucian that Ole Miss was going to have a better backfield this year. Now it's starting to turn around. After Gibbs last week, I might have to hold off. But for a few weeks, I was looking right.
Well, guys, you just heard everything from James Brown. I mean, Justin Riley, the hardest working man in podcasting. Pettey, why don't you do us a favor and plug some week 0 stuff for us?
Man, week 0, we've been a little wonky the last few weeks because of life, but hey, we get a show out every week. So if you subscribe, it's going to show up in your box and you get to listen to us. So, hey, week 0 sports and other stuff. We're on every podcast app and on demand. Just check us out. We're there. And also this show right here, man, we've got a YouTube channel. Please hit subscribe if you're still listening. We appreciate you coming out today. We're going to keep the guests continuing, and we're going to be here every Saturday, I think, from here on out. So, man, subscribe and keep is. What did I miss, Michael?
I'm going to say one more thing. Our guy Pettey here puts together some pretty good articles every week, and I do a damn fine job of editing them. So these things they're awesome, right? So you might want to get out and check those out. And I bet you there are a lot of people out there in the internet world that would love for our guy Justin Riley to start writing some articles and give us some of those insights on paper. And I'll put a challenge out there.
Riley has been wanting to for a while, but
if any of these Bama Standard fans out here, hold on, if any of these Bama Standard fans out here want to get some of that stuff, if they can accumulate a $250 donation to the Bama Standard, we will turn that into a website where Justin Riley can give you his thoughts every day, every night, memes, all that great stuff. It's sitting there ready to go. We just need to get a little cash behind this thing to get it rolling. So you guys donate $250 to the Bama Standard before the midnight show starts tonight. How can they do that, Justin? Do you have a support the show link?
We don't, but we'll figure something out.
Figure something out. If you make a comment during this show tonight, this is for the website. I'm saying $250 if y'all donate. They're not going to give it. Workspace Solutions will provide it for free.
Oh, you can make a donation on the post-game show tonight on TDA. And tell us what you're doing.
Got to mention it's for the website. If we see 250 total during the post-game show, Workspace Solutions will build them a website next week, and you guys will have it.
Also, please subscribe to the YouTube channel for the Bama Standard. We're at 835 subscribers. We need that 1,000. Be the one that makes the difference.
Thank you guys very much. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Hotty toddy.
We'll see you guys next week or the week after. Stay on social media to figure out when we're going to drop the next show. Right, guys?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
See you next
All
week
right.
or the next.
See you.